In this building right now, we have some of the rarest, most valuable phones in existence. But not just that, some of these are my personal dream phones. Ones that I've spent years in the background just inching closer and closer to getting. Like, yes, the actual Pokemon phone. So let's go from pretty rare to very rare to so rare you can't even get one. First up being the Galaxy Z Flip 5 Retro. I love this whole past meets future concept. Oh wow, so 3 boxes on the inside. Fun fact, this one here has Samsung's very first logo on it, with the word Samsung, very literally meaning 3 stars. And inside is stickers that cover their entire history, followed by what they call the flip suit case. And then on this box, this is the Samsung SGH E700 from 20 years ago. The phone that this entire limited edition is paying homage to. One of the original flip phones that also, by the way, happens to have a dual display like its modern counterparts. And inside it is a metal collector's card with what I assume is a unique ID number. So I get that on the face of it, this SGH E700, it feels like a pretty random thing to make a limited edition based on. But this phone, special to Samsung. It was released in 2003, a time where Nokia and Motorola basically owned the phone market, and everyone else was small fry. So, Samsung poured everything they had into this flip phone, with features like an internalized antenna, an ultra-compact design even with that, and incredibly for 2003, a camera capable of taking 5 shots per second, all leading this phone to be the first ever Samsung to hit 10 million sales, breaking that glass ceiling for the first time and actually bringing Samsung into the picture. So, considering how much people talk about the idea of the flip phone being back now, actually bringing it back in the form of a recreation of this is a pretty smooth move. It's got the same silver and blue color scheme as the old Samsung. I feel like these colors just embody that entire era of phones. Ooh, this is cool. It's got the old phone that slowly turns on and then like a custom 16-bit wallpaper in the screen of it. And that becomes your full cover screen when you fold it up. And these flip suit cases, they're actually pretty cool. So they're half external customization, but thanks to an NFC chip inside of them, when you place them onto your phone, it also instantly applies matching internal customization. And these are good quality, proper animated wallpapers too. This is a wicked product for proper Samsung fans, but I can't give it any more than a 6 out of 10 just because of what we've got coming. Like this next one, which is definitely one tier above in rarity. Still not super rare, but you basically have to import it from China. I'm talking about the Mickey Mouse phone. Yes, Disney made a phone. And this right here, that's an official holographic Disney sticker as a seal of authenticity. So this company takes their collabs very seriously. Right, so first thing is an insert. Wow, this already has a lot of stuff inside. So there's the SIM ejector tool, delightful, a certificate of ownership, Mickey sticker page, and then a case. Oh boy. This is one of the most premium, thoughtful cases I've ever seen included with a phone. I love the fact that this bottom section has multiple layers to create that complex light reflection. The charger and the cable are standard, but then we have the phone. So, pretty incredibly, I'm holding right now the first time ever that Disney has collaborated on the design of a phone. What prompted them to do that? Well, Disney's been around for 100 years now. From Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, their very first movie, back when they looked like this, to now when they look like this. What I'm more curious about though is, how well did Disney pull it off? Okay, this is up there. I'll say that. There's a custom Mickey UI skin with their own charging animation, their own lock screen clocks, unique wallpapers, and they feel right. You know, very often with these brand collabs, they can come across as a bit cheap on the software end. This is quite the opposite. I always appreciate when designers go to the effort of making every icon look consistent and not just the few that sit on your main homepage. And then even the back of the phone, every single section has its own individual texture, which makes it feel a whole lot more interesting to look at as opposed to a flat Google image JPEG just slapped on the back. Like Mickey's buttons, for example, the way they reflect light differently to his clothing actually makes them feel like buttons. Shame there's not enough room on the back panel to add 2 little Mickey ears from the camera, but I haven't even shown you the best bit. Okay, so we open up the camera, we go to portrait mode. Try taking a photo of me like this. Oh, the camera sounds delightful. Look at that, Mickey Mouse bokeh. It turns all those little soft blurred lights in the background into Mickeys. It is quite a large phone though. I'm slightly upset they didn't make a mini version. Takes the Mickey? Oh, you're taking the Mickey. And now, just before we start getting to the eye-wateringly expensive, let's go for the shockingly cheap with the Mr. Doodle phone. Who? Mr. Doodle, aka Sam Cox, is a British artist who specializes in, stay with me here, doodles. Ever since he was a child, he's had a habit of doodling everywhere, on all sorts of things, like less paper, more tables, and chairs, and even walls. So it's pretty cool that that has now become his entire career, with him blowing up online in 2022 through the Doodle House, this highly creative and no doubt painstakingly time-consuming stop-motion video where he covers his entire house in graffiti spaghetti, as he calls it. And some of his works now are selling for over $1 million. Oh, what a way to start. So that's the phone, based on the Tecno Camon 20, and below that, transparent stickers to make your own doodles, I guess. It comes with a transparent case, which is fair, you'll want to be able to see this design, a normal power brick, cable, and SIM tool. And this is the phone. And on first glance, it might look like I've just unboxed the wrong thing. That's actually what I thought. I nearly returned it. Like, it doesn't really look sketchy enough, which in itself is a bit sketchy. But you actually just have to look closer. UV torch me. Check this out. It's the back of this phone that has what Tecno calls moon phase color changing technology. Or, in other words, phosphors that glow in the dark after being energized with light. Which means that while all you can see during the day is the normal design of the base phone, turn some lights off, and it becomes clear that Mr. Doodle was there all along. Feels pretty groovy to me. But now, it's time to start cranking the rarity up a notch. So I was in Japan recently, and out there, the One Piece anime is absolutely enormous. It's a manga and show about this young boy with a dream to become the best pirate in the world and find this treasure called the One Piece. We went to One Piece shops, One Piece restaurants, we even went to a One Piece themed gym. And so it's hardly surprising that yes, there is also a smartphone, and only 50,000 were ever made. Okay, this presentation is already amazing. A treasure chest is such a clear win for a pirate-themed phone. Oh, and you open the lock to get inside. 200 IQ. Whoa, there is a mountain of booty in here. The phone's on top, there's some sort of dock, and actually custom-themed charging cable. This is like the entire cast of characters. And this is Luffy, the main guy. Oh wait, it gets better. I just realized each one of these is a dust plug to cover your 3.5mm headphone jack, which also means you get a 3.5mm headphone jack. Right, there is one massive thing inside of here, and it's an entire construction project. Man, they've really thought about the construction of this one. You know these characters, the 3.5mm jack doesn't just mean you can plug them into your phone, you can also plug them into your ship. And then the best bit, this dock, it actually connects to the ship, and you use it to charge your phone. Oh, and obviously every single character has its own individual plastic wrapping. That is Japanese tech through and through. Now, as for the phone itself, this is an old phone. It's from 2012, which makes it, I mean, basically a fossil by smartphone standards. But look at it, so much love has gone into the theming here. Like everything from custom boot up animations to a custom animated wallpaper, which makes it look like you're on the ship with these guys. Even custom widgets, like the music player. Wait, even the apps themselves are custom. You can literally see the theming carry through to everything. As for a rating, I mean, it's obviously dated, and some of the design choices I would say are not for me, but at the same time, I have never seen a limited edition of anything in my life that has this amount of sheer effort poured into every corner, so we've got to give it a 9. Okay, now that that ship has sailed, I do want to clarify something, that while I do love pretty much all collector's edition phones, if I had to level one criticism, it would be that, while of course they're really cool at the moment where you first unbox them, they can often over time start feeling a bit tacky after a while of being your daily driver. And that's a sentiment that it feels like the OnePlus Marble Odyssey edition is designed to counter. I mean, just from the outer box, it already feels less shouty and more subdued than most. And if we unwrap it, there's an inner box, which says, "As unique as you." Which is actually what I think is so interesting about this particular limited edition. Every single phone is completely one of a kind. So on top we have an insert with some manuals, a clear case, nothing really special going on with it, maybe the biggest SIM ejector tool I've ever seen, nice though. And then on the bottom is a pretty standard OnePlus charger and OnePlus Red cable. Now the phone, which I am curious about. Okay, it's nice. It's pretty, and also ultra comfy thanks to it being rounded from every possible angle, and even slightly cold to the touch. And the construction of this phone in general is just quite sophisticated. It's not actually marble, because that would make it unusably dense, but instead, the designers at OnePlus worked for over a year using rare microcrystalline rock material that resembles marble to make this, which is why every single one is slightly different. And this is not an easy material to work with. Like, apparently the creation process of just this backplate involves 9 complex steps, including chemical treatments that are like first in industry. Plus, because it is a new material, they've said that finished articles were individually examined by hand, and any ones with imperfections were discarded. I'd say it definitely accomplishes what OnePlus was intending, a limited edition that's just trying to give you that feeling of owning something special, like you can get access to exclusive OnePlus marble-themed wallpapers. But I don't think it's quite for me. I mean, the wallpaper just looks like a recolored version of the base phone's wallpaper, but more importantly, if your key selling point is that your design is one of a kind, I think that loses quite a lot of its appeal given that you have to squint to actually see that design. It's too subtle. 5 out of 10. Next up, Transformers. And we've actually seen quite a lot of Transformers phones over the years. They must be very willing to hand out those licensing rights, but I don't think any of them have looked as good as this one right here. So it opens, very swankily I might add, with a metal pin of Optimus Prime. Then you've got a cooler. This is super well themed and can apparently take the temperature of the phone down by up to 26 degrees Celsius. Everything here is custom. That's what we like to see. Even this case, that's proper metal, which I suppose does also sadly mean no wireless charging. At the bottom then, we've got a Transformers power brick, and not one, but 2 different charging cables, depending on how you're feeling on the day, I guess. And the handset. Okay, this back design, this is what I would call Prime. Like, it's actually thoughtfully themed after a Transformer, instead of just being a quick image of one. And this metallic band in the middle, it's not just that you can see it, you can feel it. Yeah, boy. But with past Transformers phones, the software has tended to be what's ruined it. So let's see. Oh, cool. So every time you unlock the thing, it cycles between a bunch of wallpapers that suit the theme of the phone. I definitely prefer something subtler like this, as opposed to, oh, you wanted Transformers, right? Well, here's one. Hello there. Oh. Unfortunate timing. Well, you know what? This is actually way, way better than past ones. See, the thing that this setup has that many limited editions don't is that it actually feels intentional. Like the focus of the wallpaper, Optimus Prime's head, it's not being overlapped by icons or widgets, and it doesn't look like an over-sharpened mess. So you get the feeling that care has been put into it. There's actually a whole load of custom wallpapers here. You've got Shadow Flow and AI painting and Meta Universe and even animated ones like Armored Battleship. I like this menu. The icons too, they completely match with the wallpapers. And the theming's sick. Red and blue accents echoing Optimus Prime's colors. Oh yeah, the clock icon actually tells you the real time. Even the folders look like some sort of machine futuristic drop pod. The theming doesn't go much deeper than just the home screen, but these guys have really turned this around. Worthy, I'm gonna say, of a 9. And you know, in a similar vein, we've seen limited edition Genshin Impact phones before too. You know, that really popular phone game that everyone uses as the benchmark to show off graphics. Yeah, that one. But I have never seen one like this. Look at this packaging, apparently inspired by the ancient Chinese stacking lunchbox. And there's a really good reason for that. See, this isn't just a generic limited edition for Genshin as a game, but more a very specific limited edition centered around the character Xiangling. She's a pyro, or fire-based character who's fittingly the head chef, hence the lunchbox. Alright, so in the first compartment, I want to say a pen? Nope, it's a scroll. Every time I see scrolls, I just think of the Dragon Warrior scroll in Kung Fu Panda. Except this one isn't empty. It's very authentic feeling. I mean, it's even got that traditional scroll grain. I'm impressed, OnePlus. And then on the front of this book is Guoba, who in the game is god of the stove and like Xiangling's partner in crime. That's insane. It actually changes expressions as you move. All right, so on the inside, you've got 3D pop-up art. You've got a pack of collectible cards, what looks like a set of stickers, and a really weighty Guoba SIM ejector tool. Maybe the first time that sentence has ever been said. And then the bottom compartment is where we find the phone. Let's take a look at it. Man, we've seen maybe more limited editions than anyone else on the planet. Well, that's a crazy thought. But I've got to say, OnePlus really took the brief seriously. Is the phone as impressive as the rest of it? Well, it's got a leather-like finish, which is again super high effort since the phone that it's based on has a glass finish. And then of course Xiangling also gets her own custom fire theme. And this is how I think it should be done. A loud, flashy, animated lock screen wallpaper, which then transitions to a much subtler home screen wallpaper. Your home screen's gonna be busy anyways, so a busy wallpaper on top of that can just become clutter. And this is subtle but nice, a warm orangey color theme that's running throughout the entire UI of the phone. It's got a brand new charging animation, and these just keep getting better and better. You can see the fire starting as you plug in, and then slowly fizzling out as you unplug. The icons are all themed too, but the theme basically just turns them into octagons, which is not aesthetic. They've also added a custom keyboard, and it creates a chili pepper every single time you tap a key. Just when I thought they'd figured out subtlety. You gotta commend the effort though. They could have just left it, but they thought no, chili peppers. So this feels like a 9 too. Right, so that phone was nearly $1,000. This next one, $315. Very rare, yes. So rare, in fact, that the website is actually gone, but very affordable if you can find one. And when you look at what it's actually got going for it, that price feels bemusing. So this is a collaboration between BMW and the phone company Infinix. We got an intro card on top, and whoa, this box is an absolute party. So there's a wireless charger in here, which can deliver 15 watts of power. That's pretty good. There's a set of wireless earphones. You can kind of tell this is on the more affordable end by the way some of the packaging feels, but at the same time, I'm getting far too much for the price to be complaining. Oh, and also just realized there's another tray below everything else, which has a BMW tag for your keys and also a VIP card with perks like prioritized repair services. I don't know why they still print these out. We need virtual ones for our virtual wallets. I guess it just makes you feel cool. So this is already a very impressive package for its price, with the phone's back embossed with tiny little triangles to resemble the grip of a steering wheel, a custom Android theme harmonized with BMW colors, and a feature they're calling Magic Ring, which is basically Apple's Dynamic Island. It is useful, to be fair, for some really subtle notifications, but it's got one more trick. See, back here you'd think, oh, well, that's just leather, right? And yes, but it's actually translucent thermoplastic polyurethane leather, which allows it to do this. And to do lighting properly like this, while having a completely seamless leather-like back, it requires quite a few things to happen. Like, for example, a light guide film at the bottom to make sure the lighting doesn't spill, and a middle layer of transparent fiberglass for rigidity. And this is not just lighting for the sake of lighting. These LEDs will indicate to you the phone's status when you've got it face down, like a simpler version of the Nothing Phone's glyph interface, but it is something that I do more and more now when I go out with people. So I appreciate it, enough to give this limited edition an 8. And from the same Infinix company, now we've got a collab with Tesla. No, not that Tesla. This is with the Tesla Science Center in New York, at the site of Nikola Tesla's former laboratory. When was the last time you saw a museum phone? Although we do actually have one coming up that is such an artifact, it probably belongs in a museum. So on the back side of the cover, it talks about Infinix deepening their exploration in the field of electricity. We've got a 15-watt wireless charger again, and then let's start with the left box. I really love this physics classroom kind of texture that everything seems to have applied to it. I feel smarter just unboxing the thing. Oh, so these are all postcards. That's a first. And then we have a case with more equations. Takes a certain kind of person to want this, and it's not me. On the other side then is our phone box, which has the phone on top, SIM ejector tool and manuals below that. You got another case, a glass screen protector, as well as the already applied protector. That's nice of them. A 68-watt charger, one short of the big one, a USB-C cable, and a pair of wired earphones. In a long time since we've seen that come with a phone. So what is this? How did it come about? Well, Nikola Tesla was basically the founding father of modern-day electricity. And the application of that electricity is still what makes every current piece of technology possible. So, you know, we have that to thank him for. And that's what the Tesla Science Center does. It honors Mr. Tesla by both showing all the awesome things that have become possible because of him, and also encouraging the next generation to make the next set of breakthroughs. So I guess the link to Infinix is, well, Nikola Tesla was really good at electricity. So are our phones. But it is actually kind of endearing. In Nikola's life, he dreamed of the idea of being able to wirelessly transmit power. Like, he actually filed a patent in, would you believe it, 1907 for an apparatus for transmitting electrical energy. And modern day phones are real life products with his vision baked into them. It'd be kind of poetic if you could see it, the fruits of his labor. Maybe hide the wide earphones though. The packaging was awesome, but the actual theming of the phone itself is way less custom here, so I'll give it a 6. My fingers are tingling. We're moving now on to what I would say is my favorite smartphone of all time, but the official 24-karat gold edition. This is the HTC One M8. And yeah, you can get third-party gold-plated phones, but this is the ultra-rare, made by HTC themselves variant. Got a supersized black HTC cloth, which is also microfiber, so you can use it to keep the phone clean, or, you know, your house. If anyone knows whose signature that is, then let me know. A certificate of authenticity. The accessories are just standard HTC accessories. So let's have a look at this device. Oh man. In some ways, this is very beautiful in that, like, a lot of the time when you see gold phones, they're like this thick and they're obviously encrusted with lots of things. This is just the actual design of the phone, but gold. I wouldn't say it's a practical finish, like I'm starting to understand why they gave us such a big cloth, but it is really cool to see a phone that I loved so much being given this royal treatment. Now you might be thinking, why? Why do I care about this phone? And, well, for starters, generally at the time this came out in 2014, HTC was just making great phones. They had this all-metal construction. They had Beats Audio stereo sound at a time where that wasn't the standard. And I so remember just loading up seasons and seasons of Big Bang Theory on this and just relishing in that media experience watching them. Bazinga! Plus, the cameras. This was one of the first ever phones to have a proper dual camera setup. And it's not a good camera by today's standards, it's literally 4 megapixels. But it was my first ever glimpse at the possibilities of portrait mode, and it made me feel like a real pro. Power it on. There's a harsh vibration motor. Wow. This really does take me back. Back when phones were small enough that you could literally just have the power button on top. Back when cameras had like 2 modes and that was it. Back in the day where companies used to bake in a slideshow of photos to show off how good the screens were. As for this particular model, this is extremely rare. From what I can see, compared to the 50,000 one-piece phones that were made, for this, 200 were made. And you couldn't buy them. This model was only made available to giveaway winners, making it effectively priceless at this point. Now coming from that to this, the Nokia XR21, you're probably thinking, what's so special about that? After Disney and BMW and 24-karat gold, I mean, this just looks very normal. But see this on the back? 32 out of 50. Yeah, this limited edition that I'm holding in my hands right now is literally 1 of 50. And actually, only 30 of those 50 were made available. No one sent it to us, we didn't use a third-party seller. I actually sat there, like the uber nerd that I am, waiting on the product page for it to become available, just so I could buy it and be the first one to show it to you. Now, why on earth did I do that? Well, Nokia, as you might know, is a Finnish company, and they've for a long time now been making, I would say, very consumer-centric decisions, making all their phones affordable, giving people lots of updates, 1 year of screen replacements for free, really large batteries and tough construction. But for the last 5 to 10 years, that hasn't really been what sells phones. It's really been the Chinese companies, those who don't necessarily focus on the nice-to-have little things, but can just make better spec phones for even less money. That's what the market has asked for, and that's what's caused the extremely rapid growth of companies like Xiaomi and Realme. But now, only just starting very recently, it is starting to feel like the tide is turning. I guess with the current political climate, there's a growing market of people who are starting to have doubts about what's happening with their data when they buy a cheap Chinese phone. And they're increasingly looking for something locally made, which plays very well into Nokia's positioning of, we might not be the cheapest or the best spec for the money, but you can trust us. And to really steer into it, while Nokia phones have historically been designed in Finland but assembled in places like China where it's cheaper, they're now starting to be assembled in Europe too, with this limited edition being the first phone to actually come off those European production lines. There's nothing particularly extravagant or mind-blowing about using it. I mean, considering the normal version of this phone is like $500, it's very clearly not trying to spec for spec match what the market is doing, apart from the durability. The thing's got rubberized ultra grip edges, which also creates a bit of a lip to protect the screen, and the back is like ribbed plastic, which, while not fancy, is far less brittle than glass. Kind of seems like Nokia's just accepted the memes at this point. With this limited edition having both military standard 810H and IP69K certifications, meaning that you should be able to both drop it without a case and also spray it with some very high pressure water, just in case that's on your to-do list. But it gets better. Because yes, this right here is a Pokédex. Oh, and my entire childhood. I can't believe I'm actually holding the Pokemon phone right now. Okay, so it starts with a bunch of custom accessories, a Pikachu tail for your keys, a Pokeball stand, I want to say, and then stickers. So that's Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, Pikachu, Snorlax. It's pretty clear that this is being targeted at adults who grew up with Pokemon as opposed to new, younger fans, which makes sense given that pocket money is not going to buy this. We got the case, which is all Pikachu, with 2 different design options depending on what you're feeling. Another Pokédex, which in this case is your carrying pouch. I will say the print quality is super high, and it feels like really nice leather-like material with felt inside. And then the phone, which once inside the Pokeball packaging, looks to be fairly normal. So just to try and clarify how hard this phone is to get, if you haven't had a taste of how rabid the Pokemon fanbase is, pretty much any venture they take on, it turns to, well, gold. In the sense that many, many people want that thing. You go to a Pokemon Center store, queues at all times. You want some of the original Pokemon cards? Well, you might have to pay very literally millions. You want a seat at the Pokemon Cafe? You have to wake up at 5 AM months before, open up their site on as many devices as possible, and pray to Arceus that you should be so lucky. That's from personal experience, by the way. And so when this company decides that they're making a phone exclusive to South Korea, it's of course gonna have hundreds of thousands of people waiting at their computers, ready to buy the entire stock in minutes. Poor me here in the UK is not going to be one of the lucky few. So I resorted to other means. I basically spent the last 2 years just in the background of other videos probing, asking people online if they've heard anything about it, setting eBay alerts, putting in bids on StockX just in case anyone lists it. Until one day when someone very special who works with Samsung sent us that fateful message that they'd secured one. Now, all of that said, holding it in my hands right now, I have mixed opinions. Like, I loved the unboxing experience, but the phone itself, they could have done so much more with this. I mean, what about making like the bottom of the phone white and the top red, like a Pokeball that you can very literally open and shut? Or even just a custom wallpaper that shows like the inside of a Pokeball as if you're opening one when you open the phone. It just feels like too good of an opportunity to literally just ship the base vanilla phone with. And while this Pokédex packaging is undeniably top tier, the actual stuff that you're getting with it, none of it feels particularly special or unique from just going to your local video game store and buying a mug or a wallet with just your favorite Pokemon's face on it. So I like it, I obviously like it, but I don't love it. 6 out of 10. Okay, it is caviar time. Yeah, I know, there's always some sort of phone from them in these videos, but 2 things are different this time. 1, that this isn't even the rarest phone in this video, and 2, that this particular phone is pretty special for me. Oh, these are tiny. What am I meant to do with that? Anyways, inside of this box right here is the Megalodon phone. Yeah, the shark. For those of you who don't know, Megalodon is like a prehistoric ancestor of the great white shark. Literally 3 times bigger than the biggest shark today. Or in other words, far more shark than you'd ever want to be in the water with. But at the same time, this creature has fascinated me ever since I was like this tall. I even did a full class presentation all about it once, including how the largest Megalodon tooth that's ever been found is 6.9 inches. Nice. Or like this big. I actually don't know what's in this gold box. So it's a key and it's a coin. Okay, it has a QR code on the back. I pray to God that it doesn't take me just to the Caviar website. It's like, you just sunk half your life savings on a phone. Here's a link to buy the next one. Well, I'll keep this safe, just in case I ever need quick access. I'm 99% sure this key neither locks or unlocks the case, which seems a little fishy. Let's go face to face. This is absolutely terrifying. Got reams of paper in here. International certificate of ownership. And then you've got another plug to go buy more Caviar stuff. Got a warranty, certificate of authenticity. Ah, okay. I actually want to show you this. Now this phone, there were only ever 12 of this phone made, which is extremely limited. And to top the whole thing off, you see this little brown bit right here? Can you guess what that is? It's a fragment of a real Megalodon tooth. Now, I'm not someone who usually cares for fancy jewelry or the grade of diamond that a phone has encrusted in it, but that, to feel like I'm touching a physical part of this prehistoric sea monster, that is wild. And it's what this certificate of authenticity is supposedly verifying. It says tooth discovered in Georgia, USA. Georgia. And the thing that's particularly cool about it is that sharks aren't like dinosaurs, where if you get lucky you'll find a massive preserved skeleton. The vast majority of the body of sharks is cartilage, which does not preserve, leaving the teeth as basically the only memory that we have of them. Aside from that, this is basically a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5, but with a backplate made of impact-resistant titanium with laser blackening, which is what allows it to be so pitch black. And then I can only assume this guilloche pattern is meant to resemble ocean waves. I have to say, the webpage for these products is pretty weird. So it's aimed at business sharks, and it's constantly talking about how sharks are such good predators, and then how that equates to dominating the boardroom. I just find the image of a grown adult buying a shark phone to show their dominance very amusing. And if you're enjoying this video, then a sub to the channel would be awesome. So, how on earth do you get rarer than that? Well, ask Google. This is the Google Pixel Fold Hip Hop 50 edition. 400 were made in total, which might sound like a lot compared to the 12 Caviar phones, but here's what takes it to the next level. You couldn't buy them. No one could buy them. These were given solely to some of the biggest name celebrities in the world for their contributions to hip-hop. So it's a really rare insight into a true celebrity experience. I like how Google's managed to get their logo into this geometric design in a way that doesn't feel garish. So what does this say? If you need support setting up your device, please reach out to our VIP concierge at... Oh, maybe I shouldn't show that email address. So this is all in celebration of hip-hop's 50th anniversary. Oh, and there's another VIP card. That's pretty interesting. There's a separate email address for VIP customer service, and that's with a vinyl record. And then these two cards tell you instructions, and then about Simone Smith, wife of a famous rapper who made the jewelry. Because yes, this is only the third time I've ever seen a phone come with jewelry, and it feels like a lot of thought's gone into it. It's all G, which I can only assume means it's all good, or it's all Google. There's a set of Pixel Buds Pro. These look like standard buds, not customized. The Pixel Fold with this special commemorative engraving on the camera module, and that's not even really the star of the show. It's this, an actual vinyl player. How awesome is that? So this idea of a genre of music being founded it's a weird thing to think about, but it looks like what Google is referring to is in 1973, when DJ Kool Herc used two record players playing at the same time to basically isolate and loop the percussion breaks of songs, switching between playing from both of these two record players to give more time to a song's most danceable moments. The actual phone is very close to the original stock version, and if you ever decide that you're not happy with the way your phone looks, then Rhino Shield can fix that. They're sponsoring this video so I can show you their whole design your own case feature, for which, first of all, Rhino Shield offers an advanced printing process that results in a finish that won't fade or even scratch. And then to design your own, you just have to hop onto their website and use their interface, which is really intuitive. You have endless room for creativity when using it, like you can upload your own photos, you can combine with their stickers, you can choose your texture, and then the style of case you want to be designing. It is immensely customizable. You can even pick from 16 camera ring colors and 27 button colors. I've loaded up the old Mozart. See how it sounds. Hey, not bad at all. Man, what a vibe. This is like the perfect setting to have this music playing. Besides, because Rhino Shield cases are entirely made from a single material, they're incredibly easy to recycle without any additional sorting stages. And because it's Christmas, they've got us a code, Mr. Boss 15, which gives us 15% off everything on their site. So go check it out after this video. Oh, and also, that's a cassette player. 1,643 videos on this channel, and you've never seen a phone come like that.